Great. So let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 9:01. Are there any members of the public present? Veronica, did anybody outside of the committee jump on?
No.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on to approval of our meeting minutes from February 2024. Could I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
So moved.
And a second?
Seconded.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Sorry to interrupt, but I don't know who that was. I don't see the whole screen of persons on the meeting.
Who brought the motion? Michael?
I did, yes.
Yeah, and I seconded it.
That was Troy, Veronica.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
You're good.
All right, now we'll move on to new business.
All right. I really didn't have much this month, on the news side. Most of my stuff's coming in the next slides with the various updates. But I did throw this on the June meeting. I'm not going to be in town. I'm going to be out of the office third week in June. So I wasn't sure if we just wanted to talk through a proactive cancellation of the June meeting. I know we usually cancel one or two during the summer just based on everyone's schedules. I'm not aware of any action items that might be looming come June. So I think we could potentially take a motion to proactively cancel, or we could hold it for a bit and see if anything comes up. And if there are items that we need to go through, then, obviously Jeff could also run the meetings.
But we don't, if you don't see anything on the horizon that needs to be addressed, then yeah, let's cancel. That's good.
Being at the end of the fiscal year, can we leave the date at least open in case there's any immediate need to come together?
Sure. Yeah. What I can do is, obviously not a huge deal. We can hold the notice and or cancellation for the clerk's office. Maybe like the end of first week, beginning of second week. And if there's nothing on the horizon for that third week that we need to meet for, then I can shoot a note out to the group and then we can pursue as needed.
That sounds great.
Cool. All right, I will continue on the, guess this would be technically old business. Now we've gone through quite a few items over the last few months. So I did my best just to kind of summarize some of the looming and behind the scenes projects and everything we've kind of discussed the last few months on here. First are the larger capital repair projects that are happening at Market Street and Convention Center. Market Street, we solicited bids. Low bid came in, I think, right around $350,000 for the work there. We are currently in the contracting phase. We are waiting on the low bid awarded vendor to just get us all the paperwork, needed insurance certificates, bond details, all that good stuff. Looking at a potential late June, hopefully late June, early start. If we can get this thing executed in the next 2 weeks, hopefully we can mobilize maybe late June or following the 4th of July in July to mobilize this project. But it shouldn't be too intrusive to what's happening at Market Street there. Same with the Convention Center. We're a little bit ahead of the game with the Convention Center. We actually awarded, contract has been executed. We had our pre-construction meeting yesterday and we're looking at a June 3rd start date there at the Convention Center. Both projects, very similar work. waterproofing throughout the deck. Market Street has a full 7th floor membrane removal, membrane installation. It's probably the biggest impact that's going to happen at Market Street. Both locations are going to have some hefty stairwell repairs, repainting, rust removal, expansion joint repairs, and then just various concrete work throughout both locations. Convention Center may be a little tricky because I think normally we've got a fairly not an open schedule, but a lighter schedule, June, July, and August. And historically, this year the Convention Center is looking very, very, very busy. So could be some challenges working around those events. Luckily, I don't think it's huge impacts, but at times there'll be some big sections that we're going to have to mobilize at and capture and keep cars away from. But we'll work directly with the center and the contractor on how we kind of execute that work there.
How long should that take, Chance?
I think all in Market Street's a bigger project than Convention. I think most of the Convention Center work probably about 120 days, so 4 months. I think we've given them 280 days in the contract, but I think majority of it, if they take longer than 4 to 5 months, they're probably losing money on the job in terms of mobilization and manpower. Market a little bit longer. I say we're at least probably 5 to 6 months worth of ongoing work there at Market. So if we mobilize in July, it's probably going to run through the holidays.
How old is Market Street? That's the older building, right?
Yeah, great question, Michael. Market Street was built and opened, I believe it was constructed in 02 and opened at the end of 02, leading into 03, I believe. So we're now 21, 22-year-old parking structure there.
Yeah.
And for that age, it's in pretty good shape. Compared to, it's in much better shape than the Convention Center is actually in terms of overall work at the age, because Convention Center is a little bit younger. But still very good shape for 21, 22-year-old, parking structure.
Good. Thank you.
All right, I'll move along. I believe last month we discussed and took a motion to place multi-space on-street meters along I'm going to mess these blocks up. I believe it's the 900 block of Nutt Street and the 1000 block of Nutt Street right there by Pier 33 and Sawmill Point on the north end of downtown. We are working behind the scenes on that. We do have 2 meters in town. So next steps there are going to be placement, probably marking utilities to make sure we're not hitting anything as we install, and then install meters and signage. I would say rough guess late June, early July to get that up and running and activated there on those 2 streets. I did reach out to Pier 33 on this initiative, and I think kind of following McKay's question last month, Pier 33 is kind of been anticipating this move by the city since day one, so they were not surprised when I talked to their leasing team out front. It sounds like honestly they could end up getting a potential bump in revenue here since they have an off-street parking facility right across the street from that block of Nutt Street. So I think honestly it could potentially drive some more longer-term users into their parking deck there. So they didn't seem to have any concerns when I spoke to them about it. I have not reached out to Sawmill Point on the initiative, but it's on my list. Another initiative we've talked about, actually implemented one. This is one that's actually live, the ADA special event parking for the Live Oak Bank Amphitheater, special events and concerts. we rolled out our temporary ADA event parking, the first concert in May, which I think was about 2 weeks ago, and went pretty darn flawlessly. We have added, I think it's 13 spaces along Nut Street by Pier 33 and 8 spaces on Harnett Street right across from the Metropolitan parking deck there. Basically what the team is doing, we're coming in 48 hours in advance. We're dropping in blue ADA parking cone, noted parking cones at the curb line. We're bringing in a Windmaster on both sides of the street that say ADA special event parking. It has the date of the concert, and on those dates, it's from 3 p.m. till 1 a.m. is when we're kind of enforcing those ADA rules. And then following the concert, we are pulling those signs and cones and everything off the street for normal parking. When there's been a multiple date, we'll put that on the Windmaster as well. Like I think there was a back-to-back last week of Friday and Saturday. We did the same thing. We had Friday X concert 3P to 1A, Saturday X concert 3P to 1A. We've had pretty good response there. I think there's been a few vehicles that have kind of pressed their luck up until the 5-6 o'clock range, and then have slowly relocated. But on this one too, I went to Pier 33, gave them notice as what was happening, and they actually sent blast out to their residents of what the city was doing here. So I think that's been beneficial. But I think we've done it 4 concerts now, and I think nearly every concert that space has been filled with permitted handicap parkers. So it appears to be a success. And when stuff like this happens and I don't get any response in terms of feedback, usually no news is good news here. So so I would call that one a success here.
How do, I guess word is getting out to the people who buy the tickets that the ADA parking is available then, right? Seems like it's being utilized, so somehow word is getting out to the people who are planning to attend that they will be able to park if they're ADA qualified.
Yeah, Michael, we need to take an extra step with Live Nation in terms of putting some narrative to this piece of it on their website in their like ADA accessibility section. We were kind of waiting to make sure it worked before we put anything up there. But right now there's a pretty detailed parking map on Live Nation, Live Oak Bank's website, and list all of the off-street parking options currently. And then also notates that there has been a ADA handicap drop-off area right in front of the entrance on Harnett Street. So there's a big handicap symbol there. And as well, we have, I believe at the top of Harnett, we have a big sign that has the handicap symbol that says ADA parking to the right. So we've kind of
Yeah. Okay.
a few proactive things. We haven't specifically put the on-street stuff in writing through Live Nation yet, but I think that'll be the next step.
Cool. Well, congratulations on that, man. That seems to.
Yeah, I think this is a good one. I think that's one of the accessibility, especially on the parking side, has been one of the challenges and complaints that both Live Nation and the city is kind of received for the last 3 years. So hopefully this is a big step in the right direction for getting those folks some better accessibility on the parking side, leading into that event.
Cool.
All right, next up, FY25 parking budget has been submitted. There was quite a bit of back and forth between myself, my office, budget office manager, went through a city council presentation through their work session back in March. Currently a couple new initiatives with our budget next year that's currently recommended by city manager, still has to go through the council adoption process of first reading, second reading, and then full adoption in June. We are making a one-time $2 million transfer into the city's debt service, and that will be for kind of back payments toward the River Place the replace parking piece and the development side of the parking, or the parking side of that development, city owned. General fund has been paying those debt service payments since day one. The parking fund is healthy enough now to start paying some of that money back into the general fund. So that's going to be a one-time $2 million transfer into the debt service to the city. There's also a $500,000 debt service, what I'll call a credit, because things have to flow through the parking fund into the general fund when it comes to debt service. So in this case, the $500 debt service payment toward the Skyline PPD deck right now, I believe the parking portion of that purchase and the debt service associated with that purchase of the new building and the land and the parking deck. I think there's right now right at about $750,000 of debt service allocated for the parking deck with that purchase. So out of that 750, parking's gonna be putting in 500,000 of that 750. We started low here just to make sure we're still in a healthy fund balance at the end of next year. We are in a healthy fund balance, and most likely parking will start to cover that full debt service of the Skyline PPD parking deck here on the north end, starting in FY26. And
Is this
then,
a, are these bonds? Are these bonds with? What
Yeah.
does that look like? And if that's too much for this session, I don't have to.
that's a detailed question.
We can skip it.
It's from a very financial answer. Yeah, it's bonds that were issued, public bonds that were issued to purchase the property.
So the debt service is not monthly. It's some point in.
Yeah, I think we set this purchase up. I think it's either 25 or 30 year payment schedule on the Skyline purchase there. And it was set up a few different ways, and I don't even know how to explain it, but because of the city's intent to keep the building, keep the parking deck, and sell the other two land parcels, we purchased this in a few different ways in terms of interest rates and everything. But yeah, the bonds were issued, and I think it's a 25 or 30 year debt service there.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And then last but not least, the fee recommendations that were presented to the committee a few months back were included with our recommended budget. As of right now, I haven't heard any feedback from council other than positive in terms of, what we've recommended are smaller 3-year incremental increases along the board, and just kind of the positive financial outcomes that have resulted in this on the parking fund to then start, paying more toward some of this facility debt service, as well as transferring, some of that money back into the River Place fund as well. So, that's pretty much kind of the highlight of the FY25 parking budget. A few more items just to throw the committee's way that we may not have talked about. We are, in our budget, we have a recommendation to fund $300,000 worth of security camera installation at the new Skyline PPD parking deck. Purchase that parking deck with some older antiquated analog cameras, not many of them in there. So the idea now is to kind of start putting the infrastructure into that parking deck, similar to what we've done everywhere else, get a better security system in there, and also tie that system into WPD Sting Center so they have eyes and ears on that location as well. And then the only other notable increases coming from our budget were credit card fees. I think we've budgeted an additional close to $200,000 just based on the credit card processing fee increases we're seeing across the board with the revenue that we're bringing in. That's it on the budget. Any questions on that one before I go into the parking lots? All right, parking lots. we presented to the committee couple months ago to activate and start some public parking at the, I spelled Coast Guard wrong, so apology about that. Coast Guard parking lot down on the 100 block of North Water Street, Salvation Army parking lot on the 800 block of North 2nd Street, and the 320 North Front Street lot right there across from the Cotton Exchange. So we'll talk in reverse here. So the 320 North Front Street lot, since we have discussed and we're planning on allowing some public parking, city got a surprise unsolicited offer for the purchase of that lot. So that city-owned property was brought to council. It was surplused, and council accepted that that unsolicited offer to sell the 320 North Front Street. So the city has closed on that property and is now privately owned. So that is off the table for public parking under the city's management there. We'll skip over the south lot for now. Salvation Army and Coast Guard. We kind of delayed opening this for public lot and have run it through the city's budget process. We took the contractual piece of council last week or 2 weeks ago to get these operations added to the pivot parking contract. So right now we will be planning to open both of these for public parking, most likely July 1st with the start of the new budget and the extension of the pivot parking contract. The Coast Guard lot may be delayed due to the bulkhead work that's going to happen adjacent to this parking lot here. There are some actual voids underneath the parking lot that kind of connects into the bulkhead there. There is a bulkhead repair project happening late summer. So there's a potential that we could delay the public parking piece just for safety reasons. But right now it looks like we are going to be able to open things come July and allow some public parking there. So unless we hear something further from engineering to kind of hold on our action, we should start parking cars there this summer.
So is that, I know you showed a map, not last month, maybe the month before, certainly the month before that. That's right on the river?
Yes, sir. It's kind of directly to the south of the Hotel Ballast.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
that's
there's a couple of things there. There's a war memorial there, a veterans memorial there. Would that be eliminated?
No, give me a second here. Let me try to pull up a map, Michael. Might be easier. Might be easier to talk about it while it's on the screen. Let me see
If we can, if this is too much for now, we can.
No, so in a high level, let me see. We don't have a whole lot on our agenda today, so it's probably a good time to
Okay, cool.
Can you guys see this map?
Yeah. See
All
the
right.
picture.
Yeah, you see Water Street? All right, cool. So the Coast Guard lot we're talking about is right there along the water where this orange barricade here. I think it's 30 spaces in total. So that's where we'll most likely commence the parking operations come July 1st. Michael, you are talking about the War Memorial right here.
Yeah, it's just a little bit north of there. Yeah.
Yeah, all of this remains the same. Really, all we're gonna do is open these bollards up.
Okay.
Put signage. We'll probably improve some landscaping, stripe it, and then start parking cars. So nothing else of the infrastructure and access into out of the Riverwalk changes there.
Okay.
The bulkhead work that I'm talking about is kind of on the outer edge. You see where my cursor is going across the screen?
Yeah.
The outer edge, kind of on the other side of that landscaping, is what is going to get further repaired by the city late this summer. So I think worst case, if it's safe to park cars there, we might lose the west side of the parking lot while they're doing the work, and then we can at least park some cars here on the east side. And then just go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, my wife and I walk that frequently on the weekends, and it's
Yeah.
like almost every week, and it's really, it floods, it's a mess, it's just, and they've been working on that for a long time.
Terrence, are you looking at doing any monthlies there?
To be determined, John. I think initially, if we go the monthly route, we might only sell a handful. Because of the potential interim on-off switch that we might need to do with construction. We're not sure yet. I know I've got at least probably half a dozen folks that either work in the Water Street Center there or up further north at River Place that are interested in some monthly parking. So I told them about the potential interim on-off of us of at least the next 6+ months of potential parking. So to be determined. We haven't made that call yet. And then just for everyone's just for informational purpose while we're on this subject, the piece of the Coast Guard property that's directly south of the parking lot. Actually, let's go back here. Sorry. Directly south of the parking lot right here. This is a better view of it. So this is post-construction here from the courthouse and the Coast Guard work. So the whole southern piece here that you're seeing on the screen, pretty much to Princess Street on the north end, was originally part of the old Water Street Park that was set for some improvements back in 2016, 17. Plans for improvements were set forth here, approved by council. We were getting ready to move forward with it, and Florence hit. And then basically what Hurricane Florence did was halt those current plans to improve this kind of long piece of concrete here because of the damage that happened at the courthouse. So all that work that happened at the courthouse is finally, due to Florence, is finally finished. So what's happening now with this parcel that the city fully owns is engineering, working with the Park and Rec team, working with the city manager's office, basically revising those plans that were kind of finalized nearly 6 years ago, almost 8 years ago. And once those plans are finalized internally, they're going to bring some updated construction and drawings to city council this fall for the improvements of this area. So if all goes well, council's good with what the engineering and Park and Rec team bring to them in the fall. I would say most likely the improvements to this section of the old Water Street Park would probably go under construction, bid and under construction probably sometime next year this time. And then that only covers pretty much up to the Princess Street intersection, because that's the only piece that's been funded. Long term, the green space and the parking lot that we will be parking cars on will also be redesigned and improved once funding's present. So long term, there'll be most likely a nice, fully improved green space activity park area, I would assume, from pretty much Market Street running north to that Veterans Memorial. Don't have a timeline on that, but like I said, it hasn't been funded. But I would say in the works probably in the next 5 years or so.
Chance, what's our ability to hold special events on those two properties?
It's a good question, Christina. I would say pending work in the parking lot, if you take the parking lot away, pending bulkhead work, I would say the ability to hold special events on the grassy area right now where that trailer is on the screen, and the about to be improved area close to market, I would say it's good. Just get in touch with Kayla on the special event side. But I think it's a viable option, at least until the southern piece goes under construction.
What about the parking lot?
Sure, I think the parking lot can be included.
Okay.
It would just have to play into that kind of on-off switch with how we were gonna potentially run the operations. But yeah, I think it's a feasible option.
Okay. Does the Azalea Festival know about this too?
I hope not. I'm just joking. The actual improvements and everything,
No, the ability to hold special events on those two properties.
not that I'm aware of. I think Kayla and I have like very, very loosely talked about it. My guess with the Azalea Fest, might need to be put on hold until like that whole southern portion gets repaired and upgraded. I think once that happens, it'll be a more of a seamless transition for pretty much that whole old Coast Guard property there as a viable special event option.
Okay. And have designs been released yet? Or no, the design won't come until the fall.
Yeah, not publicly. I don't think I've even seen the most recent. My assumption is that will probably get publicly released as they come to council for like a Monday morning presentation.
Okay. And you're gonna allow daily parking on the Coast Guard lot and put a box out there for paid parking?
So the plan for the Coast Guard lot was try to not spend too much on infrastructure. So I think initially we're gonna run it just a text to park, pay by phone, daily parking option, just to avoid having to spend another additional 7,000 to 8,000 for a parking meter out there. If we start it that way and we get pushback on not having kind of a cash coin option, we can pursue a parking meter at that point, depending on how viable the revenue stream is and everything.
Sure. Okay.
And then last but not least, while we're on the map, it probably helps as I let me go north on this map. Sorry, giving you guys a tour of Water Street turning in the Nut Street here on the north end. So as I presented the original plan, let me back up. So the original plan for the PPD property that the city purchased was to, as fast as possible, sell this south parcel here, which is technically, I think, 20 Brunswick Street. I'm trying to get a good view of the slide. It's hard with the landscaping they have there. Initial plan, and still is the plan, for the city to surplus and sell this south lot parcel here, which is part of the PPD Skyline purchase. I think currently it's right at 230 to 240 spaces. That is not happening quite as fast as we envisioned. And initially, when I wanted proposed a plan to the budget office and finance to run this as special event type parking, it was shut down pretty quickly. But now, since we're nearly a year later, we still own it. When I presented to city council at their budget work session, they brought up the idea of in the interim opening this parking lot strictly for special event concert parking at Live Oak Bank Amphitheater. It seemed like it was just kind of a resource where the city could produce some revenue from a parcel that's essentially sitting there empty most of the time currently. So we're putting a plan in place to very quickly run a contract amendment through Pivot and start parking, special event parking operations here. Hopefully the first concert in June, which I think is going to be June the 13th. And we'll run it just like any other event, where we'll be staffed 4 to 5 hours during that event. I think we've proposed a $20 rate and a $30 rate for special event parking because of its close proximity. Whereas next door at the Skyline parking deck, we have a $10 and $20 rate. So we'll be slightly less at the parking deck than the parking lot. So those folks coming to concerts will have a less expensive option and a more expensive option parking with the city. So I just want to give you guys an update on that one, since it was kind of flowing behind the scenes. It hadn't really been brought to DPAC yet. And I think that is it on my long list of city updates here.
Hey,
Yeah,
Chance,
it's
just one point of clarification. Special events is what you had said, but for specifically that lot, would the 4th of July be in play for that?
For parking,
Yes.
yeah, we can certainly add that to the list, John. Haven't even thought about 4th of July. We can add it to the list. Let me think through that. This will be the first year we've actually had the parking deck. So, let me think through that and talk with Pivot about that. It's certainly a potential option. I just got to make sure we'll have the resources to manage it with everything else that's going on with 4th of July. 4th of July is kind of an all hands on deck for us. So we'll need to make sure first we'll have to get it under contract with Pivot. And second, we'll have to make sure we've got the resources to
Okay.
manage.
Yeah, just let me know because we get calls about where to park and stuff like that. So
Sure.
Chance, what about any Juneteenth associated events coming up? Is there anything that needs to be thought about with respect to that?
Not that I'm aware of, Michael. Juneteenth is now an official city holiday.
Okay.
Council put that in our holiday schedule, I think 3 years ago. So from my end, it would be treated just like all the other celebrated holidays here, to where it'll be free on-street parking for that day.
Yeah,
Beyond that, I don't know that there's any events happening that would really impact parking on a large level. Great question. Madam Chair, I think that might be it on my updates.
All right, thank you, Chance. Pivot,
Yeah, Pivot's up next. I don't have a slide for them, but I believe Austin will be presenting on the Pivot and contractor updates.
all right. Go ahead,
Yep.
Austin.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Again, not a whole lot from us. We'll start with some April on-street numbers. We issued 2,477 citations. 1,829 of them were paid. We immobilized 24 vehicles, equaling just shy of $6,000. Text apart for our meters, we had 9,246 transactions, equating to just about $38,000. Pretty solid note on that. Our central code for our text apart accounted for 4,725 of the transactions. So that was a good number for us, totaling the majority of those transactions in the center part of our code there. Notable April concerts. We had A Need to Breathe on Saturday, April 27th. Our PPD deck parked 182 people at a $20 rate, equaling $3,640. Our convention center parked 155 people at a $15 rate, equating to $2,325. Moving to the May back-to-back concerts that Chance mentioned as well. We had Friday, May 3rd was a Jordan Davis concert. The PPD deck did 208 people parked, just over $4,000, and Convention Center did 127 people, just shy of $2,000. The following evening, Saturday, May 4th, was Cody Jinks. The PPD deck did 287 people parked, equaling $5,740. And our convention center parked 84 people that night, equaling $1,260. So pretty successful there. Great to hear that potentially that other lot that we were talking about for Live Nation would be parkable. So all in all, been smooth for us. Not a whole lot going on, but we are gearing up for a heavy season.
Hey, Austin, your Texas Park number, that's an impressive number. I know you're filling in for your fearless leader over there. Do we have a total percentage on the Texas Park as compared to transactions, like what that 4,000 transaction number, how it equates to total percentage of use?
I do not have that number, but I can get that to you.
Okay.
So that is all that I had to present here. Does anybody have any questions or concerns on those numbers?
All right, thank you, Austin.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll move on to organizational reports. I know Lieutenant Nichols is out in training at the moment, so Chance, did you want to read his report?
Yeah, give me a second. I'll have to pull it back up. I had it. All right, here we go. All right, from Lieutenant Nichols. I know he is out. So April stats from WPD downtown. We had 4 bar inspections. Total charges in the downtown district, 103. 6 alcohol related, 4 drug related. Out of the drug related, 2 misdemeanor, 2 felony. 3 DWIs downtown. All their charges were related to trespass, fake IDs, underage possession, affray, and etc. Mounted unit has transitioned to the summer schedule, which is 2 p.m. to midnight. So the mounted unit will be working during the dinner crowds as well, and most of the events in and around Live Oak Bank Pavilion. And other than that, really nothing major to report. Weekend crowds are starting to pick up as summer gets closer. And it looks like they have added 2 deputies to the evening shift from the sheriff's office to help with the kind of full staff and the downtown task force in a whole for those Thursday through Sunday busier evenings. And that's it from Downtown Lieutenant and WPD.
Okay, thank you, Chance. Any at-large members have anything to report? All right, moving on to Cape Fear Community College.
Right now, we are working on upgrading our gate system at both of our decks. Both of those are very old. I'd say probably 2014 or so. And they're so old, we can't even get parts anymore. So we're working to upgrade that, and that'll be a big plus. We'll be able to schedule openings for special events, like when we partner with Wilmington Convention Center, things like that. So I'm looking very much forward to getting that upgrade. That's all I've got.
Right, well, good luck with the upgrades. Thank you, Sean. Next, DBA.
So from DBA, our latest update is still regarding the Azalea Festival survey we put out. We've compiled the results of that and have a meeting on the books in the upcoming weeks to meet with the Azalea Festival Committee to present those findings and kind of just have an open dialogue about what we may be able to do in order to better serve the businesses during the Azalea Festival. Christina, I did add that question in, so we have some feedback that I'll forward to you about the use of the barricades. For the most part, it was positive feedback on that front, with making parking easier unless it didn't apply to the business, so they were open at night or there wasn't a restriction on their area. But all in all, we're happy with how that survey went, and I will let you guys know what the result is after we meet with the committee. And that's all I've got.
All right, thank you, Sam. New Hanover County.
Hey, Christina, while we're on New Hanover County, probably a good opportunity to introduce our future committee member. Rebecca, I believe Rebecca has taken a new position with the county, and we have Jacob Shackelford, I believe, that will be representing the county. Hasn't been officially appointed yet, but just wanted to introduce Jacob to everyone here. And I don't know if Jacob wants to like say a few words about himself, what brought him to the county and ultimately to the wild world of downtown parking. So
Oh, you're on mute, Jacob.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially I worked for Rebecca. I did all her parking citations and stuff. So she kind of just brought me along with her. And so I had the opportunity and jumped on it. It was good to meet everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome.
hey, Jacob, just for informational purposes, usually the council appointments committee meets once a month. My assumption is hopefully you will, within their next meeting, unless it's canceled, it'll be approved and you'll most likely be appointed at a June agenda. So I'll keep you in the loop and on where we are with that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Alright. Row.
Nothing much for us. The next event for Row will be its backdoor kitchen tour. Tentatively, the date I think is October 14th. Just sat with Tricia and Dennis McGarry last night. We were talking about this, and I think again this year we'll probably come back and ask for some consideration with respect to parking ease in the historic district. But that's we'll have more definite plans probably certainly by July meeting. And that's it.
Hey, Michael, just real quick for your informational purposes. And I didn't talk about this in my update. The Orange Street Arts Festival is scheduled again for the Memorial Day weekend, Saturday, Sunday. That one normally is a big impact on parking on the south end, Orange Street, 2nd Street, residential. So we will be enforcing as normal. So if you get any complaints sent your way, just know that we will be out there as normal. We're treating that in terms of parking restrictions like any other day and enforcing those residential permits down there on the south end.
Sure. Yeah, no issue. Yeah, thanks for that.
Yes, sir.
All right, and I'll close out with some WDI updates. Row, WDI, and the Historic Wilmington Foundation and many others were all part of a steering committee yesterday meeting on the Part 150 study that the airport is doing. It's a study over the noise that is coming from the airport. They're going to be holding a series of public meetings, drop-in public meeting sessions. We'll include some of that information in our newsletter. And really, it's going to be about 18 to 24 months look at how the noise affects different plot areas within the Wilmington the Wilmington International Airport's flight patterns and zones. So looking forward to that. I do have some updates on the parking map. And I wanted to see if it was okay, Veronica, if I shared my screen with the rest of the committee. Good, okay. Right, can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
So we've done a lot of updating to this map since the last time we all met. I do have more information here on the parking garages. We introduced photos, the parking hours, to many of the positions of the city parking decks. Still need to add the county deck and also some of the private parking amenities, but all of the city amenities should be on here at this point. We also have a filter by parking options, which we'll dive down into a little bit later, but your surface lots, your private lots, your venue parking and that sort of thing. So anything venue wise that we can put on there, Chance, as it comes online, let's go ahead and add it. as soon as we can. And then additionally, we have these explore categories that go along with the parking options. So you can scroll to a parking deck and get all the dining options will pop up on the screen. You can click on one of these icons and go through. So here's the listing for Shuck Shack Oyster Bar. It gives you a little bit of information about the business, phone number, hours of operation, and then you can click to get directions, or you can click to get more details. And this is actually pulling off of the website and going into each business's website. So I think it's turning out pretty good, I think. We have still some more businesses to add. I think we've got over 100 businesses added here, but we also have this option at the bottom where if a business is not listed on here, they can come to this interactive map section, type in their name, email address, upload a photo of their business, and then send it off to WDI for us to post. We're going to be adding hotels at some point. Oh, we do have some hotels. Caitlin has been busy. So she has added a few of the hotels that are on the market, again, being able to click, book a room, what have you. So this has been probably about 8 months to 8 to 10 months in the making, I think. And we've worked closely with Blue Tone Media to post this on our website. Do you guys have any questions about the map? Okay.
Christina, this is really excellent. That's just really first rate. Congratulations on it.
Thank you. Thank you. We've, a lot of this is funded through or all of this actually is funded through the Brant Downtown, a pot of money that we get from the parking fund. And we put a lot of that towards this map in last fiscal year. And we actually ended the contract just last week with Blue Tone Media. So we're wrapped with that contract, and they have turned over the keys to us to operate the website and work everything on the back end. So we've been feverishly trying to get that map updated with just 2 staff members. So if you're in the business community and you want to spread the word, please have them go to wilmingtondowntown.com and click on that interactive map. If they do not see their business listed, we'll be happy to update it. They just need to send us the information. In addition, yes?
Sorry. Christina, is that ready to now share with the businesses that link to provide that information?
We are almost. I am working on a news release right now, so I would like WDI to announce its website edition first. We have anybody else really start to share it, but just kind of in the background, if you kind of want to share the information, just, personally from business owner to business owner, that would kind of help us generate some more listings before we do the big release. And I think we're doing the big release probably sometime next week. We might send a special newsletter email out about it. I'm working on that news release right now. So, in addition, WDI is about to release an RFP to do an expansion of its Holiday Lights pilot program. So this year we're looking to expand what we did last year as far as the holiday lights are concerned, and time that a little more accordingly with the Christmas tree lighting that the DBA does every year. Last year we weren't able to get the contracts and everything in time to do the lighting around the tree lighting. So we were going to try and sync those up this year along with some other programming and events that I think might come underway. WDI also did an RFP for economic impact study and a hotel assessment. And we are currently interviewing contractors for that study. Hope to get underway this summer and have some really good data to share with the community by winter. And that's all. Any questions? All right, and I believe that is everything. Can I take a motion to adjourn?
I'll do that.
All right, Michael, thank you. Second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
Everyone.
In July.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye.